It wasn't until action-packed hits like The Matrix, Charlie's Angels and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon that many Western cinema goers were exposed to the magic of Hong Kong wirework. Audiences in the East, however, have been aware of this high-flying art form for 2 decades. Now, Yuen Woo-ping may be famous at home for Iron Monkey and the Once Upon a Time in China films, and he may be the most internationally recognized master of this art, but he was not the originator. It's unclear who first had the idea of attaching actors and stuntmen to cables, but early pioneers of wirework include Taiwanese action director Robert Tai, who was active at the Shaw Brothers studio in the late 70s, Tony Cheng Siu-dong with his groundbreaking Duel to the Death in 1983, and Yuen Dak with The Bastard Swordsman, which was released the same year. Wirework is actually deceptively simple. Now, most rigs rely on pulley systems, a basic understanding of physics and gravity. Now, the harnesses and the crossbars may be specially made, but most of the equipment, the wires, the pulleys, the locks and the bolts, they're sourced from industrial suppliers. Now, in the West, the wires, when they're used, tend to be secured using crippers. Now, in Hong Kong, stunt crews actually cut the wires and then they tie off the loose ends into strong looping knots and seal them off with tape. Now, when you've got a loop, of course, you can easily unlock and lock them into place take after take instead of having to cut the wire each time.
Something that happens quite a lot in action films is stuntmen get to play characters, especially if you can't see their face. What we've got here is basically 2 stuntmen, Ahin and Wazai, playing one character. It kind of makes it less difficult for the stuntman. It's not so much hard work, and also you can play to their strengths. For example, if one of them's better at acrobatics and one of them's better at fighting, they can perform those certain things that suit them best. Wazai is a little bit lighter than Ahin, so that helps with the wire work, for example. So that's why we have 2 guys of reasonably similar build performing the same character part.
我叫華仔啦，做咗特技人5年到啦。
This guy has doubled for Zhang Ziyi from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I think he's better looking.
我就叫阿顯啦，入咗行都有5年啦。
呢個背景係咩？
我背景係都做過好多行噶啦，我做過廚房啦，做過揸車啦。咁我都係由細細個玩體操啦，跟住又中意學功夫啦，跟住到有嗰啲武術班學，咁啊自然就有呢行就入咗呢行啦，咁咯。
Hello， 你哋好，我叫姜克成，咁入咗呢行已經差唔多10年啦，咁呢行都係咁啊，後生勁啲嘅，我哋年紀大咧，但係都係增值㗎啦而家。
My name is Tony English. Chinese name 馬騮。我做咗電影都差唔多20年啦，咁都係做動作嘅嘢，幕前幕後都有做。
This gentleman's name is Gong Fu Keung. His nickname is Scarface. His job today is the wire master. Now that means he's responsible to listen to the action director and rig the wires according to the action that the action director wants. A bit of trivia about Scarface: he used to be a stuntman and he actually doubled for Chow Yun-fat in Full Contact.
或者一間咧嗰邊咧喺嗰邊咧草叢嗰度咧就飛出嚟嘅。咁我哋呢個威亞網咧，其實咧就冇得賣嘅，係自己訂做嘅。咁依家咧，我哋同個華仔咧就先着咗個腰封，跟住咧就上呢個威亞網，程序上就咁做噶啦。
佢個春袋會唔會好痛？
唔會。
邊邊個豆春袋啊咁？
佢唔會好痛嗰度，因為我哋係有咗呢啲有啲白色嗰啲護墊，咁咧呢條咧頸帶咧係貨俾佢咧，就係條威亞壓住佢，等佢伸直啲。其實咧，如果佢當一個舞獅，如果佢嗰個 keep 得到個 balance 咧，佢就唔需要用呢條頸帶。
If you look at Hong Kong films from the 80s and 90s, it's actually not very hard to spot the wires. Now, in the past, camera crews and lighting crews did their best to hide them. The lighting people tried to hide the wires in shadows, and cameramen did ingenious things like smear Vaseline over the lenses to blur out the wires against the background. These days, wires are very easily and quickly removed using software that's especially designed for that task. We still use black marker pens, however, on the wires. That's to stop them getting reflections and reflecting light into the camera lenses and causing glare.
呢啲咧side pan 咧，就係有陣時夜晚啊，或者有陣時貨俾燈光師啊咁啦，睇唔到條威亞喺邊處。咁啊，通常都會用啲黑色嘅 side pan 油咗佢。咁樣咧，就成條威亞咧就唔會好覺㗎啦。
好，而家電上映。
依家上威亞啦，
頭仲叉喺度咧。
前一條後先，佢唔中意先再俾翻拋佢。好啊。因為咁你我哋上咗威亞之後咧，我哋就會叫我哋前面威亞組嘅人嘅咧，就會等一等佢。唔該，阿明叔，係等一等。好嚟，1、2、3。通常咧，我哋等掹佢之後咧，佢會踢一踢腳，睇下有冇問題。好，唔該。跟住我哋就會帶佢去我哋嘅叫做開始位。
OK。
係。好。耶。咁麻煩你，我哋係。OK。10啦。
係 ，OK。
呢個就係另外一種嘅威亞網，咁就又係出邊冇得賣嘅，係訂做嘅。
What we're going to shoot now is the POV of the assassin or the ninja as he flies over the two stuntmen. In Hong Kong, it's not that unusual for camera people or for stunt people to take the camera and actually perform on the wire themselves. I guess it's a lot cheaper than renting a jib. So it's actually quite normal for people to use wires, not just for performers, but also for camera, for getting the shot. So that's what we're going to try to do right now. Right, what we're about to do is a continuation of the assassin flying, and then he does a somersault over the two stuntmen and lands on the ground. Now the way we do that is we use a trampoline, and a low angle. And by shooting with the trampoline and by shooting the sky, not seeing the ground, you get the feeling like the person is actually very high in the air. Now, trampoline use is used a lot in these kind of fantasy films in Hong Kong. I believe it was director King Hu, Wu Gum-chun, that was one of the first directors to really put the trampoline to use. This was before wire work or any of that stuff. And Hon Yan-kit, the bad guy from The Big Boss, was an action director and a stuntman who was very famous for his use of the trampoline in Hong Kong films of the late 60s. What you have here is a perfect example of a trampoline and a wire shot being put together to achieve one action. You can't achieve this kind of thing doing master shots, which is the way Hollywood tends to shoot action sequences, which is choreograph an action and shoot it with multiple cameras. These kinds of action, these fantasy things, have to be done in pieces, bit by bit. Wire, trampoline, maybe a little bit of human agility as well, all cut together in the editing suite. We are going to do some very unsophisticated things now. Very, very basic stuff like having a sword flying across the screen. Because like I said, wire work is not just about moving people. Often props will be put on wires too. If you do an explosion and you want maybe a sofa to spin in the air, the same principles apply as if you were using a human being as your prop. Hong Kong people have used wires on props for a long time. At its most basic, if you look at The Big Boss, for example, they put a wire on the end of a knife, stuck it into the wall next to Bruce Lee's face, and then pulled it out. And they show that in reverse, so it looks kind of like the knife is going in right next to Bruce Lee's face. What we're going to do now is show the sword flying across the screen. If you look at John Woo's Bullet in the Head, there's a scene where Simon Yam warps into a room. He's got a knife and he flings it, and it looks like it flies across the room into a guy's neck. Actually, they had two knives. One is already in the stuntman's neck, and the other one, the one that flies across the room, is on a wire. And the techniques they use are similar to what we're doing with this.
This is Hon Peng. His nickname is Xiao Peng, which means Little Peng. He's a former member of Sammo Hong's stunt team. He's a utility stuntman today. That means he's not here to double or necessarily perform in front of the camera. He's part of the team and he's there to help out.
嗱，呢一個咧就係一個放飛劍嘅做法嚇。通常咧高手咧出完劍之後咧，咁啊會放飛劍啊。咁我哋點做咧？做條威亞吊劍嘅中間，咁然之後咧空中就吊起咗。然之後我哋拍攝嗰時咧，將把劍一揈，佢會轉啦。咁拍出嚟感覺咧就好似把劍高手出招，把劍飛埋鏡頭就砰殺人。1、2、3做。
機器喎，呢邊好得。1、2、3。Good。
因為咧後邊咧原來咧全部有晒 pad 嘅，見得有晒啲 pad 嘅嚇，就好安全嘅，有龍骨啊又剩啊。
呢啲 pad 係咩 pad 啊？
呢啲 pad 係貨俾電單車用嘅 ，motor size 飛車嗰啲用嘅。
同埋呢啲 pad 係咩 pad 啊？
係腰風嚟嘅，係俾人哋跳阿魯比咧，箍住嗰啲腰咁。
同埋入邊嗰啲係咪空手道嗰啲？
空手道嗰啲
做比賽
係啦，做咗比賽。
OK。
有陣時咧，有啲衫咧係唔啱我哋個威亞網嘅位置咧，我哋就會喺啲衫嘅縫口位就劏開少少，就攝條威亞裏邊，同埋等嗰件衫唔會起一個皺紋，就係咁樣。唔該。
And we're lucky that we made 2 of these. You have to, when you're doing action sequences, you can't just have one of one costume. You have to have doubles and maybe triples. So this is the jacket which we can put holes in, and we've got another one in case we need beautiful, perfect jackets later on in the shoot.
我仲要幾有禮貌，跪咁跪嘅啲嘢。
所以我話你好咯，幾好啊人。
其實我人係幾好嘅，不過你哋成日唔識欣賞我啫嘛，你哋。
啊有語言啦，
有少少啦，微言啫。
一個搶鏡。
轉翻呢邊，翻嚟得唔得？
我諗知。
今次 set 呢個威亞動作咧係幫呢個人轉嘅，咁咧仲有咧中間條威亞咧就拉佢咧就轉掉頭向前向後又得啊，係俾嗰個吊威亞嗰人個加速個轉快啲。我哋上去。
呢個動作勁啦！呢個動作空中轉體，整下點啊呢個？整下。
This is Wong Wai-Fai. He's an action director in Hong Kong and he's part of the stunt team today. A bit of trivia about Fai. He's the first guy that Chow Yun-fat shoots in The Killer.
嗰邊咧就負責阿小姜個 balance 嘅，即係吊呢兩個位。咁我呢條咧就負責佢 swing 嘅轉嘅。咁你而家導演嘅要求咧就係佢嘅前空兩周。咁我哋就唯有喺兩邊俾咗個 balance 佢，就我呢條咁樣轉兩個圈。咁啊吊起咗之後咧，我呢條好似解咁解翻佢出嚟，就係咁。好。
As you can see, the stuntman was having a little bit of trouble with this action, so we've got Wazai to double for him for this shot. It shouldn't matter because the camera won't see the face, and he's moving very fast.
Doubling actually happens an awful lot more in making Hong Kong action films than you might think, and you don't simply double someone because they can't do an action or because they're scared or because it's too dangerous. A performer might be doubled for a number of reasons. He might be rehearsing another shot, he might be attached to a wire on another part of the location. So if all you need to see, let's say, is the back of someone's head or a leg or an arm, there's a very good chance that you're not actually seeing the actor doing it and they're being doubled.
OK，你捉頸。
而家點解用手穿落隻靴度而拍呢個梯腮咧？手靈活啲啊嘛，咁加少少暴力粉咧，拍出嚟嘅效果就威力大啲啦。真係好勁，佢講都講得好。
記住即刻啊！到咗。The stuntman was having difficulty to perform that somersaulting motion with 2 wires like that. It's quite difficult to turn your body. So what we've done is we've changed it. So now the wire threads around his body, which basically means when the wire team pull, he's unspooled and then he'll spin over into the kick, which should be easier for him. At least I hope it's easier for him. So we're trying something different here. This is the kind of thing, typical Hong Kong filmmaking. We make it up as we go along, and if one thing doesn't work, we try and find another way to do it.
企翻個中位咧，其實等一等，等到咧你嗰個位就喺個舒服啲，太直。好，嚇。1、2、3，走！
頭先個動作係唔係好難，但係個威亞要擺得好準。如果唔係偏歪少少就會好痛，要忍一忍咯。
頭先你係咪傷咗個耳仔？
冇，輕微刮一刮咯，冇乜嘢嘅，睇得到。
This unfortunately